Good morning, everybody. So I would first of all like to thank each one of you to brave this wonderful Texas weather. When I got up this morning, I already started shivering. Not from the fear of presenting here, but the fear of braving this weather to come over here. But thank you for being here. So today we are here to talk about Kritish. So Kritish aims to bring the creative community together using creativity as a common medium. But before we go and talk about what Kritish is all about, let me talk about a story. We all of us have a story. And if given a chance, all of us would like to tell that story. So my story began a couple of years ago when we bought our house. And like any time, first time house owner, we spent a lot of time and our energies to convert this house into a beautiful home. The passion was that every corner of the house should display our love and affection towards the house that we always dreamed of. So we spent countless hours and days and the weeks in our garden. We convert that garden into something where we can actually go and even sit down, and it turned into a meditation heaven for us. Then after the gardening, naturally came the woodworking, because we need some furniture for the garden. And once you have a creativity spark, you don't stop at one type of a creativity. It invites the next set of creativity. So from gardening to woodworking, and finally, despite my wife being very cautious that you're not going to touch my wall, I did all of these wall murals inside the house. So the idea is, the reason being behind that is that the creativity energy was keep on building inside us, and we were trying to do a lot of things around our own house or own heaven. But what happened that after 3 or 4 years of continuously doing that, we stopped getting an opportunity to do something different. How many times I can plant in my garden? How many walls can I repaint? And that requires a lot of time and effort. And my creativity energy was still at the peak. So what I started doing is that the people who come to our house and visit and say, wow, your garden looks beautiful, your house looks beautiful, I says, I can do something for you. This is like my offering to you, because this gives me an opportunity to experiment something new, something different in your house, in your location, in your environment. At the same time, my creativity journey will continue. So I started doing that. And when I was doing that, I was realizing that my creativity knowledge was getting better, because when two creative people meet, their creativity energy combined, and you have better ideas. Everything what is happening in the room, there's a lot of creative people are here, and when they talk, we get an ideas. So one fine morning, because I was going through that particular phase, the idea about Kritish came to the mind that why don't we start doing something for community where we can bring people together using creativity as a medium. And the name Kritish came into the mind. So just to confirm this idea, I talked to a couple of my friends, family members, and I asked them, are you creative? And the answers that I got was kind of a little discouraging, because I know some of them were creative and they say, no, we were creative, but we are no longer creative. And I asked them why. We don't have a time, we don't have a need, we don't have an energy, or we were never been creative. We have never been trained to be creative. So then I asked that, I think there is something which is wrong in the creative process. And then I draw this particular circle that each one of us would like to create something. And once we do that, we would like to share it to the other people. Once you share this, obviously you would like to get a feedback. And once you get the feedback, and if it is a good feedback, you are really inspired to create something again and again. So this is a creative cycle. And as long as you are in that creative cycle, you will continue to create. But the moment this creative cycle breaks, it's very difficult for you to come back to that creativity circle. So hence, Kritish. Now, for me, Kritish is a social networking site, but to me, it's more of a, I would say it's an encouragement that I am trying to provide to the people whomsoever I meet in the community, that be more creative than you were yesterday. Try to do something different, what you are doing, what you have done in the past. And you can continue to remain creative, because as a child, we all of us were creative. But as we grew up, we started pulling something else, and our creativity gone into the side. But people don't realize they are still creative. They do creative solutions for everyday problems. So hence, Kritish for me is lot many things other than just a social networking website. So for me, Kritish is an inspiration, and for all of us whom do I talk, it is also an hope that I would like to provide to those people, that those were artists at some point of a time, but they're not pursuing their artistic career anymore, or artistic things anymore because they are not finding a time and opportunity to do so. So what if we can bring those kind of a people together using a Kritish as a community? So we have now a completely built up social networking website by the name Kritish, and Kritish means Kriti share. So Kriti is the Sanskrit word which means creation. So share your creation. The whole idea is that once you share your creation, it inspires others to pick it up. But however, it does not stop there. Lots of website does that. They allow you to share your creations. But my whole objective is that let's collaborate. Collaboration is a very important aspect because people do collaborate with people across the world today using Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, but they don't know what's happening around their own community. So the main idea I'm trying to push forward is that you must try to find out who are the people in your own community, in your own neighborhood, in your own locality who are doing something similar thing. So that's the discovery option that Kritish offers today. And there are few other things, collaboration ideas and other things are there. So this is the team which has built the Kritish so far now. I am 23 years of an IT veteran. I have won a lot of leadership awards in my organization. And another company, Maplinks in India, has built up this particular site. And they are doing a good job in building this one. Since it was launched about 6 months ago, we have about 1,100 users who are part of this Kritish community today. We have a good number of our Facebook followers as well as the Twitter followers, and that numbers is keep on increasing. Now, there are some quotes, I will come back to that one. And basically, what I expect that creativity is something which each one of us has always, all the time. What I would like to encourage each one and whomsoever I meet is that try to be a little bit more creative today than you were yesterday. That is my message. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Aaron. That was really awesome. Thank you so much. And we appreciate it. Aaron just presented recently in Dallas, too, and I heard that his presentation was very well received. And it's an interesting idea. I don't know of any platforms that are competing with you currently. I'd like to ask that question at some point. So this is our second half of the Q&A, and we'll have the same format as we always do, 14 minutes. We'll start out on the floor with anyone who has a question. I know there's some creative people here.
Hi. I wanted to know, how is it that you're going to have everyone collaborate? Are they just collaborating online and contacting each other through that online source, or is there a way that they're going to take it? Are you taking the collaboration to the next level, in other words?
So there are two parts of it. So even though I have built this site, my first point of contact is that people should know each other. Now, they can use this particular site when they can sign up, they can tell that what are their interest areas, and then they can also put up some of their creations or the critiques on the site. So that way people in the community, when you come to the discover option, so you can see that I have just put a location that who are the people in Bangalore or in, let's say, Frisco or in Louisville area who are engaged in some form of an art. Now, this form of an art is something which is common between us, or it could be different. So that is the starting point where people can come and see who are the people who are doing the similar thing. But my platform allows you to connect with those people one-on-one. So there is a digital way by which you can connect people. There is a collaborate options which you can privately send them a message and receive a message and then continue to collaborate using the site.
And my second question is, how are you making money?
I'm not making any money right now. The intention is definitely to make it money, but the primary reason for making it money is not is to continue to offer these services, because I think that more people will come together from a community perspective, and when they talk about creativity, it's a good environment. So I need to make some money, and my channels of making this money is that I have a plan that for the next 6 to 8 months, I would like to promote the culture of a creative collaboration. So more and more people would join Kritish. Then, because they are doing some creative work and they are highlighting their creative work on the Kritish site, I would invite some of the organizations which offers creative solutions, such as all the art institutes or all the stores which sells the creative items, right? So that would be my revenue generation model number one, that those people will come and we can have some advertisements through them. The second revenue generation model is also based on, there is a need today where, why would you buy an article from a particular artist? Because that particular artist is renowned, right? And his painting or his music or her work is recognized. But there are a lot of artists which are having a huge amount of a talent, but their talent is not being showcased, number one. And number two, people do not know what kind of a talent they can provide. So it's the second one is an endorsement. So on a very small fees, we can provide them some sort of an endorsement. And think about, there's a lot of art institutes which are just operating in a very, very shallow environment. If we can give them an endorsement so that people would know. So that is my second revenue generation thought process, which will happen after a couple of, I would say, once I am more interested in building this as a community first and then bringing the business, that's my next activity.
You know, your numbers that you showed up there as far as likes and follows and everything is very impressive. But I have the same thing that she says as far as a business. I'm not sure I get the idea of the business. But as far as people following you, complimentary, that's one thing. But if you were to actually charge for it in some form or fashion, those numbers probably would not reflect that. In other words, I'm trying to figure out, your message out here to us, I'm having a tough time trying to follow it, but when I see your numbers on the screen, I'm like, there's something there, but the message is being lost a little bit. I totally get what you're doing as far as the creative aspect, but I'm trying to figure it out as far as a business model. I'm not sure I get it. Maybe you can explain how that bridges from where you're at to where you're going.
So as I said that I'm not expecting that anybody and everybody who joins this Kritish site to be a paid member. This is a community where we are trying to encourage people to be more creative. So my business model is to generate revenue from the people who want to sell their creativity. So those people who would sign up here and they would like to sell their and promote their creativity, that is what my business model is. Now that would be your art institutes, because those would like to people to come to there and attend the courses over there. That could be the places which says the art artifacts. Those could be the second one. And as I said, that if some artists really want them to be endorsed, once I have built up my Kritish brand as a recognized brand, then I would endorse them based on the work they are doing. And that would be my revenue generation model. So I would not say that 100% of the people who will come here would be my paid participants. It's only, I would say, 10 to 15 to 20% of the overall population would be the paid participants.
So, Aaron, I have a question. When you talk about the art institutes, for example, and then you also talk about the people who want to get paid for their creativity, I think of two things. So one thing would be display advertising. So are you thinking about display advertising? I mean, if we want to get specific about how you're going to generate revenue, then you could have display advertising from art institutes, other, maybe it's, companies like Uncommon Goods who have like very unique creative items. That's one thing. And then you could also have an e-commerce platform too, where people can sell their wares. So is that more like what you're thinking? Just to kind of make it specific about how you're going to make money.
Yeah, I mean, that could be the next logical step, when people would come and exchange their goods for a money, and then the platform will receive a part of a funding out of that particular transaction. So that could be the next possible step. I have not actually, very frankly speaking, I have not gone through that particular aspect of making too much money out of this, because it's more of a passion that I had converted into a Kritish brand so far now. But ultimately, yes, I would agree that advertisement is definitely one thing that we have thought of, that we have to generate revenue out of advertisements.
And then rather than being paid for endorsements or maybe in complement to, is this like a lead generation service, almost like Angie's List, right? So you have endorsed someone, if someone does a transaction on your website so that they connect and get paid for their creativity, do you get a percentage of that?
Right, agreed.
Hey, Curtis, thank you so much for your time so far. I want to encourage you and tell you, I think it's a really good model. I think you should go watch The Social Network, because it's a Facebook.
Yeah.
Except internal creativity, or Pinterest, except we're posting other people's creativity. So if you get 2 million users, forget about it. You could sell it. So just a thought, but that's all I got. Just good job.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so those are the places we are watching to get more inspiration.
So I had a question on your search function back then. As of right now, you've got limited amount of users, and so does your search function allow you to find people that aren't part of the Kritish site, to where you can find creative individuals that maybe are not part of it? So in this instance, maybe there's an invite to bring them in, but right now it seems like, at least from the photos that you had up there, most of those people are from India. So I don't know how many of those users are from Frisco, to where we could legitimately search that site and find a number of meaningful collaborators. So I'm just wondering if there's a way to find those people that maybe aren't part of your site, and then it helps bring them in, knowing that you helped recognize them within their industry.
That is one of my thought process, and that's exactly what my item number 2 in this funding requirement marketing is all about. That we need to find out those people, the creative community around us, and that would require time, effort, and the travel and the advertisements and sending that right messages. So even those people who are not on the Kritish site today, they would join. That would build my network. So that's exactly what my largest funding, once I receive it, and if I receive it, would go into bringing that awareness and bring a lot of people on board. So that you're right in saying that right now my maximum 60% of the users are from India, but there are still a lot of users from other countries, including USA, UK, and even some people in Australia and Southeast Asia countries. So there are people, but yes, that's the message that I would like to send as much as possible, and that is possible through even social media or one-on-one networking or doing some road shows or those kind of things, and that's the expense for the marketing.
Yeah, because I mean, one of the benefits you see of some of the other networking sites, like even using like LinkedIn, I think we all know, some of the articles that you publish on there, or some of the things that you actually are posting on there, go beyond just LinkedIn. So people are able to appreciate that they can be found in other resources, and I think if you put a platform to where you could recognize them before they even know about you, I think that would increase your users dramatically.
And one way we have done that is that we have started something as a blog. And blog, for reading the blog, you don't have to be the subscriber of Kritish. And what we are putting there on the blogs is more articles about being creative, being collaborative, and why the community should come together. Just look at an example of the very first blog, which is published only yesterday, Photography as a Meditation. This is some subject which might hit a lot of photographers or meditation people just like that. What is the connection between a photography and a meditation? And once we have that kind of an interest generated, people are likely to join the site, because that is one of the medium we are trying to come people to understand what is Kritish is all about and how we can do that.
Hi. When you initially talked about collaboration, I was more thinking there was going to be a platform such as like a Google Docs or a share option or something. And when you were speaking, that's what I think of when I think of collaboration, not connection. I hear you say connection and sharing, but you had mentioned that the idea was that you have a creativity that somebody else picks up on, and then that continues and builds. I heard you say that, but I don't see that. So it's a suggestion I would say. I know everybody, I remember when the coloring books came out, the adult coloring books, everybody probably was like, who's going to buy an adult coloring book? And then you found yourself going. So I think the idea that, yes, we all have a creativity, inside of us that as children, a lot of us had, that we stopped doing as we got older because it was child's play or whatever it was. I think there is something there, because that obviously that model has shown us that is a business model that people are interested in. But I would just say I don't have the answer. I'm just thinking if there was a way to be collaborative in terms of sharing, whether it's art, I'm looking at that specifically, not music or anything else, and actually add to or different creations in that medium, actually I can see that being very fulfilling.
So the very first option in our, and I don't know if I have the print for that. So you see all this feed is coming there. that is as soon as you sign up, you will see this feed. And now this feed is based on people contributing what they have created. So this is exactly like in what area in photography and what they are doing. And there is a text, like if you click on this particular link, you will see people are writing stories behind that why it is important and why they have done that. So basically that is where the people are sharing their contents. And once they share their contents, we also provide like on the top it says Team Kritish, and the second one it says Avinash Shetty photographer. You have an option to directly collaborate with them. So once you click on them, you can see their entire portfolio of their work. It's a private portfolio or a public portfolio, whether they would like to wish it. And then you can use an option to send a message to collaborate using a collaborate option that we have here. Can't see, right? But the starting point is first you share, also get inspired by what other people are sharing, and then collaborate to increase your creative aspects.
Thank you for being here. I think I like this product a lot, and I think you're looking around the room and you see the engagement you have from the audience. That's a very good sign that you're onto something, so I appreciate that. My question is, in the arts community, and I'm very involved in the community here, we have the gap of connecting the artist with the buying public. So you're focusing a lot on getting the artists together to collaborate, to create things. How do you bridge that next gap and actually connect them with people who want to buy their art?
Excellent. This is a very good question and close to my heart, because artist is kind of a private person. That's what I have been talking to many artists before we come up here. And then the every time that I hear from them is that either they do not want to be in public, and that's where the lot of artists and their artwork never comes into the limelight privately, because they are doing a private job and it is not doing that. So with Kritish, I'm trying to bridge that particular gap by building a section primarily from an artist perspective and a common user's perspective, and try to bring them together by saying is that you are interested in, let's say, underwater photography, right? There is an artist who has already done that. Go and look their portfolio and then encourage that one. So what will happen is that when I ask that particular photographer a question about what are the things that I need to do to start doing the underwater photography, that will immediately give a boost to that artist, is that nobody is not asking about how much do you sell this picture for. They're also asking about some sort of an advices, and that would start their conversation. So basically, the conversation cannot start just by looking into a picture saying this is a nice picture. We can just Google and we found typical trillions of pictures of that one. But the conversation will start when two people will say that, okay, this artist has given this one and this is my interest area, and we have a common things to talk about, and let's connect together. That's what I'm trying to encourage through the platform, that collaboration is the most important aspect.
Thanks. Aaron, we have two people who've been waiting for a while to ask questions, so I'm just going to, I know there's been a lot of engagement. I really appreciate it too, as Brad said, but I just want to let these two people, because they've been waiting for a long time, just ask their questions so we can get through some quick answers for them, then we'll wrap it up so we can stay on time by 10 o'clock for everyone who has another place to be. All right, Spencer.
All right, so I'll try to go quickly. First off, 1,100 users in 6 months is pretty impressive, so congratulations on that. You know, you have an audience and you're building it. And to build on something a gentleman up there said, if you have that audience, the revenue should kind of generate itself. If you build a large audience, the revenue will take care of itself in a lot of ways. So I would encourage you not to be married to any one revenue model and to just kind of explore those opportunities. But also I wanted to ask, a lot of people have mentioned different platforms that this is similar to. Why, what is the logic behind building your own platform and your own website instead of building your audience on existing platforms like Facebook, maybe even something like Etsy or anything like that?
Absolutely, good question. So Facebook is definitely, I don't call them as a competitor. Those are the inspirations, because those are the people who started doing all of this idea about the collaboration. But the problem with the Facebook today, which based on my personal experience, is that there's a lot of things which is lost in Facebook. There's a lot of feed which just got lost in the Facebook, that even if I put something very interesting, which is very creative or something, because I'm seeing 2,000 of the feed every single day, starting from happy birthday to happy anniversary, to do this and to do that, the creative aspect is being lost. And this site is primarily dedicated, I would say this is a niche community for being the creativity only. So when people will see the similar creative activities happening, it's more likely that, okay, this is one place where something which I put is not getting lost. Because there are a lot of people who has a similar interest area and they have subscribed to those interest area, so they can see my feed and connect with me. So that's one aspect, and there are multiple other things that we have researched, like Facebook and Etsy is a different story altogether. So in the interest of time, I will stop here.
Hi, what's going to differentiate you between some of the other creative websites that are out there, such as, say, DeviantArt or Talent House?
I have not looked into those ones. So my primary focus was, it's not a creative site alone, it's like creative community. So I call it as a more of a creative social media where people are coming and collaborate using creativity as a common medium. It's not a creativity selling site. And I do, unfortunately, I do not know exactly what sites you're talking about. Like Etsy and others is like selling the commodities, creative commodities. But this is the people where it all started, like, because I wanted to talk to the people who are similarly creative than me. And we do it together. So that was the whole idea generation process. So it's more of a creative community rather than, unfortunately, I don't have any knowledge about those sites, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Aaron. We're going to close here. I do have that one final question, but I do want to highlight that we just asked Aaron to do this yesterday. We had somebody else who was lined up to present today, and unfortunately, she was not able to be here. And so I contacted Aaron because I knew he was interested in presenting, and I think we should, after we close out here, give him an extra round of applause for being so polished today and driving so much engagement on literally 24 hours notice or less. So thank you so much for that, Aaron. And then our last question is, what can we really do to help you? What can the community do to support your business?
So I'm not a business person, first of all, to begin with, so I would need a coaching, and these kind of a questions and the advices is that, what could be the right business model for this kind of a community if I build it? So that kind of an advice is definitely something which I cannot create myself. I am an IT personnel, so I can do a lot of programming, program management, IT management, but not the community management and the funds generation process. So that is one area which I'm definitely looking for some advices and guidance in the coaching. And the second one is that, of course, as I said, that for something like this to continue to work, we need some funding to make it continue to use as a technical platform, or add more features, come up with our own app, like something like that, the marketing funding. So that is what I'm looking for, some fundraising and some angel investors to help me with that and collaborate with me on that one.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We'll give you a final round of applause.